Welcome to today's 3-minute Halacha. Are you allowed to use whiskey or some other beverage for making Kiddush? In order to understand the answer, let's have a little bit of background first. Wine is always to be preferred over all other drinks for making Kiddush or Havdalah, but it's not the only option. Friday nights, we're only allowed to use wine or grape juice, or in an extreme situation, there is a possibility to be able to make Kiddush over challah. But when it comes to the daytime Kiddush, since according to most authorities, it's only rabbinic in nature, there is a wider range of drinks known as Chamar Medina, which translates as the wine of the country, that can be used and includes those drinks that would be served for a sense of prominence and not just to quench one's thirst. Among the more common drinks classified as Chamar Medina are beer, whiskey, liqueur, cognac, tea, coffee, fruit juice, and according to some modern poskim, such as Rabbi Yashiv, Rav Ruderman, and Rav Teitz, even Coca-Cola, when necessary. One may also use Chamar Medina for Havdalah, as well as for the 4 cups of wine at the Pesach Seder. However, an interesting side question arises when it comes to the question of how much Chamar Medina must be used, because typically, Kiddush requires at least 4 ounces of a beverage. But what about beverages such as whiskey that people don't usually drink more than a shot, which is about 1 or 2 ounces? The Taz rules in Siman Kuf Tzadi and again in Reish Yud Sif Katan Aleph that when using whiskey for Kiddush, such a large quantity is not required because it's just not normal. The Maharsham and the Minchas Yitzchak agree as well and rule that Shabbat morning Kiddush can be recited over just a single shot of whiskey. However, there are other authorities who only permit reciting Kiddush upon drinks that have that full amount, the Revi'it, which is about 4 ounces, and therefore, according to their views, one would have to use at least 4 ounces of whiskey and consume the minimum of a complete cheekful to be able to be Yotze with their Kiddush. The Shevet HaLevi, Rav Shmuel Vosner Zatzal, suggests that the entire practice of reciting Kiddush over the Chamar Medina actually evolved in Europe, where there was a scarcity of wine, and therefore wine became either unavailable or extremely expensive. Chazal and the later rabbis as well began to look for alternatives, and they permitted Chamar Medina. Since the situation has changed, he asserts that we should revert back to the practice of only making Kiddush on wine or grape juice. Nevertheless, the custom of making Kiddush on Chamar Medina is a long-standing custom, not one that is likely to change, and people need to be aware that there is a machloket, and also to be aware that if they opt for Kiddush over whiskey, to be responsible in how much they have and how they behave.